It's the Church of Jesus Christ.
Who is our nation's capital named after?
Our nation's capital?
Who is it named after?
I have no idea.
You have to tell us.
Sadly today, there's a widespread lack of knowledge of basic American civics and American history.
I'm having a blank right now.
History is how we keep alive things that happened in the past that still matter today. If we forget our history, we'll forget our freedom. What would you say would happen to a family if a husband said, I don't care about our anniversary, we're just living for the future. I don't care about your birthday, that doesn't matter. I don't care what happened about last year when you're in the hospital, it doesn't matter. You can't live your life without talking about history. Your history determines your present and guides your future. In fact, scholars have said the one who controls the past controls the future. History is the story of what we do today, because how did we get here? Do we want to do that again, or do we need to go a different way? So the history of America absolutely is essential that we make wise decisions today as we shape our tomorrow.
More than 25 years ago, Dr. Peter Lilback, then serving as a Presbyterian minister in suburban Philadelphia, created the Providence Forum to educate Americans on our rich Judeo-Christian heritage as a nation, especially in light of the assault against that heritage in academia, the media, and the culture at large.
I remember hearing years ago an adage that I've thought about as a historian: the living can make the dead do any tricks they find necessary. The dead can't fight back, so we can make them do things they didn't do. So how do we make sure we're really telling the story accurately?
And a major part of that is to get back to the original sources.
Well, number one, we need to go back and say, do we remember the records that tell the story? Do we go back to original sources? Do we go back to artifacts that actually describe what happened?
Through the years, Providence Forum has developed a number of initiatives to reclaim our nation's heritage, such as commissioning an exact replica of the Liberty Bell, which is now on permanent loan to the Museum of the Bible in Washington, D.C. Providence Forum has created a number of books and resources on the nation's godly heritage, such as the book George Washington's Sacred Fire, which documents beyond a reasonable doubt that the father of our country was an 18th century Anglican. For example, at Valley Forge, he wrote his troops,
"To the distinguished character of a patriot, it ought to be our highest glory to add the more distinguished character of a Christian."
As Dr. Lilback accepted the call to become the president of Westminster Theological Seminary in Philadelphia, he sought for a permanent home for Providence Forum.
I'm grateful for Coral Ridge Media Ministries. In fact, after I had led the Providence Forum for about 20 some years, getting older and realizing I couldn't carry it on forever, I began to pray, Lord, where could this ministry go? And then I had gotten to know Rob Pacienza, and he'd become a member of our board. And I remember saying, you know, this would be a great ministry for Coral Ridge. Do you think they would ever assume it? Live will give you all of our history, all of our legacy, all of our publishing rights, and if you want it, take it on. And by the way, this guy named Jerry Newcomb, who co-wrote my book, George Washington's Sacred Fire, is already doing a lot of history work at Coral Ridge. Maybe he could serve. And the leader of the ministry at that time said, yes, we'll do it. And he'll become the executive director.
And the rest is history, so to speak. Since Providence Forum has now become a part of Coral Ridge Ministries, one of our initiatives is a 7-part series of 1-hour documentaries featuring commentators like Dennis Prager, Eric Metaxas, Bill Federer, Os Guinness, and many others.
Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Dartmouth, go on down the line, were founded by Christians, many of them by evangelicals, who realized that schooling is absolutely vital to the transmission of faith and also of freedom.
Meanwhile, in the New England colonies and among many Americans elsewhere, there was a resolve to stand up for their God-given rights. As one Bostonian put it, resistance to tyranny becomes the Christian and social duty of each individual.
One viewer said, "It taught me the history I never learned." Another viewer wrote, "I am really enjoying the road to independence. Everyone in America needs to see it, and every church needs a copy." The first in the series is The Pilgrims.
The Pilgrims documentary, produced by Providence Forum, is such an excellent resource, filled with facts. The cinematography and the graphics are just exceptional. I encourage people everywhere to watch, promote, and show by Providence Forum, The Pilgrims documentary.
And for this series, Mike Huckabee was able to do all the voice work representing Thomas Jefferson.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Providence Forum is also developing curriculum beginning in the homeschooling community. Too often today's textbooks, especially in the public schools, censor out God.
You know, if you look at some of the textbooks, and we've been doing this over the years, there is a very deliberate attempt to cause young people to not appreciate our heritage, not appreciate the legacy of the founders, not even to understand the Declaration, the Constitution, the Federalist Papers, and the history that we have provided to Americans and spread freedom around the world.
In 1999, Hurricane Hugo knocked down the last known Liberty Tree, the one in Annapolis, Maryland. During the founding era, Liberty trees proved to be rallying points for the Patriots who formed the new nation. Eventually, Providence Forum was able to get the last remaining wood from that tree and, most importantly, its seedlings.
Those seedlings were cultivated and were taken care of, and when they were mature enough to be transplanted, we began a program to plant one of those seedlings in each of the original 13 colonies, thus preserving the story and the legacy of the Liberty trees.
Already several trees have been successfully bud grafted from this last known Liberty tree, such as this tulip poplar outside of the Constitution Center Museum in Philadelphia. In the spring of 2024, Providence Forum donated a Liberty tree to Valley Forge.
I am so excited that Providence Forum has seeds with the actual DNA of the original Liberty trees. This is unbelievable, and we should grow these things as rapidly as we possibly can to symbolize this great heritage.
Other initiatives of Providence Forum include faith and freedom tours in places like Boston, Washington, D.C., and Philadelphia.
That's kind of the American vision.
And we are gearing up for next year when America will experience a major birthday party as a nation.
One of the things that I am excited about is that we're going to have the 250th anniversary on July 4th, 2026. And that is the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. A great opportunity for us to understand how important the Declaration was. There was nothing else like it at the time. And in this 250th anniversary celebration, what a great opportunity to celebrate this country and also to celebrate the freedom that we take for granted today here in America.
Secularists don't like the Christian part of the American story. They suppress it, they expunge it, they're selective. I would say that's almost like a mathematician trying to do mathematics without even numbers. You know, you're taking half the story away and you can't do it right. America has a Christian past because, number one, we have a motto that shows that we cared about God. In God we trust. We also recognize that our First Amendment, when we completed what was missing on the civil rights of our Constitution, they put religion as the very first amendment to protect our rights. And then you go through all of our leaders, including our greatest presidents, you'll find them regularly speaking about the importance of faith, of prayer in Christ.
I think the secular left would love for the next generation to believe America is a secular nation, was not founded on Judeo-Christian principles, and that is just a myth that radical Christians want you to believe. We know that history says otherwise, and that's what Providence Forum is doing. It's educating the next generation on the Judeo-Christian founding of our nation and why that's so important. And that's led by Dr. Peter Lilback and Dr. Jerry Newcomb, an incredible outreach, just preserving our Christian heritage and passing that information on to the next generation.